Welcome to the Thought Space. Today's question is, does life need a meaning? The question of the meaning of life asks, does the human existence have an objective purpose or value? But the debate is not really only about happiness. A life can be pleasurable but meaningless, and difficult but meaningful. So the central question here is, what makes a life meaningful? Philosophers often distinguish between objective meaning, subjective meaning, and nihilism. Let's start with subjectivism. Subjectivism states that a life is meaningful if it's meaningful to the person who lives in it. So this could be meant for many different reasons, for commitments, goals, passions in life, maybe even relationships. So this could be anything possible that would mean something or have a huge value for someone. So you could simply say that a person creates meaning through the things that they value. A person that loves music and music is their passion, maybe have a meaningful life in case of music. So they really enjoy producing music and that's just a life meaning, and that shows what they value. What are the strengths of subjectivism? One could say that subjectivism really respects individual differences and individual meaning. For one person, the meaning may be family or science, and for the other, it could just be, like we've said before in the example, music. So it's not really defined what the meaning could be or should be, and there's no single defined path for the meaning of life. It also really explains personal experience, and many people just claim and state that they feel way much better when they can just share their meaning of life with another person, so it really just connects people. But there are also some problems that subjectivism comes with. From another perspective, we just should ask if a person spends their whole life designing something harmful or even pointless, would that automatically be a great meaning of life? So would that really just claim that their life was meaningful? For example, if a person just desires collecting unusual things or just pointless objects in their whole life, would that still mean that their life had a meaning? Or would it just be the enjoyment that they felt out of it? So is enjoyment really enough for a life to be meaningful? So many philosophers are then stating that maybe the meaning might require much more than just personal satisfaction in that case. Another perspective would be objectivism. So the main idea of objectivism is that a life can be meaningful because of the things that have value independently of personal feelings. Meaning isn't created by the individual itself, but by objectively valuable things. A few examples here would be discovering truth, creating beauty, maybe even helping others, gaining knowledge, and so on. Scientists discovering a cure for a disease may have a meaningful life as their actions contribute to something valuable beyond themselves. The strength of objectivism would be that it really explains why some actions are meaningful. So helping others is meaningful even though someone personally does not enjoy it. So it really explains why it is meaningful to do that. It also, at the same time, avoids the problem of meaningless desires. So not every desire automatically creates meaning, and some goals may be valuable, but some others may not be. But there are also some criticism and some problems that objectivism is clearly facing. One of them would be that it's not universally cleared and defined what a desire must have to be valuable. How can we ever know if a desire is meaningful? It's really about where do objectively values come from? When is something universally objectively valuable? The third perspective is nihilism. The idea behind nihilism is that there is no objective meaning and life has no ultimate plan, no ultimate universal reason, and there's no inherent meaning in our existence. There's also something called existential nihilism, which claims that the universe does not really provide the humans with a reason for existence. At the same time, it argues that meaning is not discovered as it just objectively does not exist. A very famous philosopher for nihilism is Nietzsche, and he stated that traditional sources of meaning were losing their power. In that case, he was mostly talking about religious explanations and absolute moral systems. He also stated his famous idea that God is dead, which really implies that the traditional foundations of meaning are not longer accepted by many people. So additionally, here's an important distinction. Nihilism does not really say that nothing matters. Nihilism just states that the universe does not give us humans a reason or a meaning for life. Another philosopher that's always talked about when it comes to meaning is Albert Camus and the absurd. So Albert Camus really shows the conflict that the human being is in, as we humans really try to find the meaning of life, but the universe is not really giving us one. And that really creates the absurd. Camus' response to this problem would really be to not give up, and he would just say that humans should embrace the human life and create a meaning for themselves. An example here would be the myth of Sisyphus. So even though he's forced to push a rock forever, he has no external meaning, but he can still just create his own attitude towards life. So the main debate here really deals with the question, is meaning something we discover or something that we create? In conclusion, in subjectivism, meaning comes from what we personally value. In objectivism, meaning comes from things that are valuable beyond personal preference. Nihilism states that meaning is not objectively given by the universe. Coming to my own personal perspective and opinion, I would say that maybe the meaning is not really given to us by the universe, but maybe it's our responsibility to create a life that is worth living for. So maybe we should not just live for a meaning, maybe we should just live and then find something worth living for. So instead of searching outwards in our world, or maybe from something higher power, to give us something that gives us a meaning that's worth living for, maybe we should just look inwards and create meaning ourselves. But that would be my take on does life need meaning. In the next video, we're going to talk about artificial intelligence and if it's ever able to become conscious. So yeah, I would just say see you in the next video.